Come on. Did I say only one wrap? Well, let's go like this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is take off probably 3 rigs up there, Terry. Have you done double whip tackle before?
Yeah.
So of course it's gonna be less.
Yep.
We'll go some standard ones at first, and then we'll make one double whip tackle, and then we're gonna drop this trunk, and we'll probably try to split the difference between these two.
Yeah.
And we'll probably put the pads in front of that.
Okay.
So it'll be elevated, because I imagine a line goes between those two.
Yep.
But we'll use probably one of the pieces that I rig off, the longest one, we'll use for we'll put it on top of tires.
Okay.
And then this will fall on top of that. We're gonna have some side lean. I'd like to, it'd be nice just to go in the woods, wouldn't it? Because then we could go with the lean.
Yeah.
You know, we put the pads right there at the edge, and then we're not even risking anything. I think we'll be short enough to avoid that white oak. We can aim right between those two just in case we get a slide or something. That buckthorn can stop it. Yeah, so maybe that'll be the way we go. But I'm gonna take it down to just above that chunk.
Okay.
That chunk will take off of there right before the last rig. So, okay, let's see here. So I'm gonna want, this looks like it's been shortened. I'm gonna take the shorter one, and then just have a simple rig at the top. You didn't bring any saw along, did you?
I didn't.
I don't know why I didn't bring a smaller saw, but
So has that got a cable core?
this is a cable core, yeah. So it's a brand new from Sappy Supplies. Jacob gave me this. I guess I gotta be like the West Coasters. So I've got a 395 on my hip right now. For those of you that think I'm crazy.
You want your rig rope and take it with you, or you want me to send it?
I might as well bring that up when, you know, I got a rope anyway, so. I put a top rope in here just so when I got up here, ouch, that was no good. Get my akimbo on. So the top rope made that a little easier. Transition over that mantle. All right, we can just walk up with my top rope. Yeah, this isn't gonna be a saw log here. We got a hollow. Yeah, this is pretty big wood. So I tied a tail so I can pull that top rope down, just as a demonstration. So this is a two-way lanyard. This will hold both ways. So that's kind of cool. All right. So I've got my top rope, which I can keep until I'm done cutting my notch. So I'm gonna rig this piece off. I'll get my notch cut first. We're gonna be doing negative rigging today. All right, so when I'm cutting the notch on that, I cut the top one first, and when I came in underneath, I could sight through the curve and see my bar come up there, so I knew I wasn't crossing over, and then I could finish on the top again. Now with the Humboldts, that's harder to do because your top cut is flat and then you're coming in from underneath. So you can't sight through as easily, but it works nicely in this scenario. So, all right, Terry, you wanna tie on my rope down there? All right, thanks. Could you flip my line, pull my line through and get it on the other side of that stub so it's out of your way? So negative rigging is when your rigged piece is above the block that you're rigging it to. So we're going to be dropping this on there. Come on. I got a bunch of stuff in my way here. Okay, that little long tail is proving to be a nuisance. Okay, so we can get our block as close to our work as possible. You know, it's going to pull down when it lands, and this is going to hold on there. It's not going to flip off of there or anything like that. But of course I don't want to be having it in the way of our back cut. And I'm just tying a cow hitch. That's my, you know, rigging knot of choice for the blocks, and it's often my rigging knot of choice for, I can just bring this back here and get it out of the way. I'm gonna bring this down, get it out of my way. It'd be nicer if I had a carabiner on there. I could have just unhooked that. I'm gonna reset that up. I guess I could have whipped it off the end of that thing, kept it all tied. And keep this. I got a carabiner on me I can put on there. I'm just gonna throw a sling down, Terry. Yeah. I'm gonna go around the tree the other direction so that this is okay, finally we're set. All right, so now I can leave this up here, and when I go down I can pull this and pull it down and work it down to me. So now we've got a good sized piece here, and we're just gonna, I was thinking about showing off a sling, but this is a pretty beefy piece, so I'm just gonna tie it direct. So your process flow chart is you cut your notch, and then you set your rigging, then you make your back cut. If we're like dropping a whole top off here, we might cut side kerfs on here to avoid any tear outs. But you know, on chunk wood like this, that's just not really necessary. So we're gonna tie a cow hitch up here. Oops, get a little longer. I like to put my hand through, and then when I whip it around, I can grab it and pull it back through. And I always like to tie, you know, to a better half is what it's called. So now we're rigged up. We've got our block below, got a rigging line. You want to make sure your lanyard is up above this pinch point. You don't want your block coming down, and I mean, I got a steel core here, but still, you don't want this sharp edge coming across your lanyard. So you want your lanyard up underneath here. And you know, there's an age-old discussion, you know, do you go both below or both above? You know, oftentimes I'll go one above the rigging block and one below. You know, aerial rescue, they're going to get the weight off first regardless, you know, so you know, it doesn't matter really for aerial rescue which way you got it, but you know, you don't want both of them above, because what if you get a big shake? You know, not that Terry's going to shake me, but you don't want your stuff coming off. So if somehow this came off, this is choke, so it's probably not going to flip off even if I get shook. But if both of them came off, of course you're gone. So you have one below your rigging point that cannot come off, no matter how hard this shakes. So okay, we're all set up for the back cut. You ready, Terry?
What do you want on there? I got two right now. Is that too much?
I think you got this with one.
One, okay. Okay, one on, I'm ready.
Yeah, we got that down there. Now, for those of you making fun of me, yes, I got a big saw up in the tree. So I only wanted to bring one up here. All right. Come on. Did I say only one wrap?
Only one. I had two and you said one will get it.
Yeah. Terry had two. I told him one. My apologies, Terry.
It's okay. I'm no foul of me.
You handled it well. You waited for it to come over before you ran underneath. Yeah, it's a pretty beefy piece. Well, we didn't have any shock loads, that's for sure. Well, in light of that weight, we're gonna double whip after this. We're gonna put this up here. Now out west, they'd say, why are you even messing with that top rope? It's just in your way, which is true. But, you know, for cutting the next notch here, I'm going to be able to cut it. I actually like my regular rope lanyard better than this steel core on this less than straight tree, because steel core wants to fall down and it's heavier. That might be why I haven't bought a steel core in ages, because there's just so many times where a regular rope lanyard is so much better on deciduous trees that are all crooked, not straight. We can get a full tie out of this. Yes, I think I'm going to. Okay, we're gonna tuck this tail. Give us a little bit more security. It's gonna get pinched when this sets down. All right, I need you to tie on the double whip tackle one. I'm gonna cut a notch here. Actually the big orange one. So now in this scenario, I have my top rope. And so for cutting this notch on this crooked thing, if I was just on a lanyard or on my top rope here, I could cinch my top rope back here and lean back against it and I'd get similar, but it's just a little bit better rope angle with it up there, and I can confidently make this cut. We got Redbeard saws here. We got the modified muffler by Redbeard on this. It's not ported. Yeah. Now we are going to, one thing you gotta remember when you got a top rope here is when to take it down, because you can find on YouTube guys that have dropped themselves out of the tree. So double whip tackle is a negative rig where you add a block to the piece being rigged. This is a really long sling. Doesn't make it particularly easy to tie. No. Do not want it to come. It's so heavy. So here's where the top rope comes in handy. There you go. That would have been a gaff out, and I would have went 4 feet down. All right, so we're gonna tie a cow hitch here. So this is where I would tie my cow hitch, you know, on a regular rig. Tie up that tail. Just have it out of the way. Okay, so I've got my, now I wanna get myself set up here. Now, you can pull this down. Now we're gonna keep this up here as a top rope, so we're gonna put this one above the rig. And we went, you know, behind our rigging rope. That's another key factor. You want to make sure none of your ropes are crossed. You wouldn't want to reset this and somehow capture this, and then that's just going to burn through your rope in a really fast way. So we can set this back so we can choke back against it and be leaning against it. We can let this out a little bit. Get on the comfortable side of this. Get out here where I can see my back cut coming into this. Now, the last part of this. Now, we would have had no rig if I dropped this. Right now. On double whip tackle, there's several phases to this. Now we're gonna go underneath this. Okay, so that's a bowline. We gotta get in here. So this is underneath my rigging line. So, to review this whole process, get my lanyard up here above the pinch point. Get this down below my cut all the way around. Okay. Might as well get that. Okay, so I'm down below all the way around. So to explain this, we've got the down rope. Terry, if you could take one wrap. So now remember, last time, one wrap was light. You can see kind of a couple of indents there. So now I told him to take one wrap. Well, the last one was smaller than this, and one wrap wasn't enough. But what we have here is a rope coming up through this block and then back down and tied on to the trunk at the top. So half of this weight is going to be at the top of this tree. And half of this weight is going to be held by the... So just let this run, you know, stop it as you're able. And we'll see where we line up. That's no good. We got a fair amount of hinge left here. It's coming. All right. So he was able to stop that with one wrap, If he'd have taken 2 wraps, and on this GRCS, we only have a option. We don't have that wrap and a half option. 2 wraps would have jammed that thing up. And then we're shock loading everything. So it's easy on double whip tackle to, you know, take too much of friction, and then you actually create a bigger problem. Okay, let's analyze this, see what happened to me here. Okay, so I overcut this side. So I should have had my head out here. I should have been watching. I was low, so that was fortunate. I couldn't get caught in a curve. But I should have stopped about here, and then I should have took more here, and then it would have fell off on its own. But I overcut that other side. So there, I was kind of trying to go intuitively. I looked over there, but I should have looked from this way and went right down, and I could see I'd be getting up on my apex. And then I could have come in there, but as it was, I was able to break this hinge. We got quite a bit of decay in here, obviously. So, all right, we're gonna run another double whip, and probably gonna run 2 because we're getting pretty fat. Now, when you're running double whip, we don't have to take this all the way apart, because this one we can pull out of there. The only thing we have to take off is this one. We're just gonna tie a timber hitch because we're getting fatter here. Man, I just had a thought. A lot of times when I'd be rigging something, I'd be thinking, what would Norm Hall be thinking about what I was doing right now? And of course he passed away this year, and I just had that thought, like, oh yeah, what would he have thought of me overcutting my back cut? He just said, should have known better, Kevin. You know better than that. You gotta get a visual on that. That's what he would have said. And now I can go up here. Yeah. 1,500 pounds. Yeah, I should have had you look that up. I thought, oh dang, I don't have my phone up here, but you have your phone down there. So yeah, let's. Yeah, and it made it on 1 wrap. We just know we can't take 3 wraps. Okay, now we're 1, 2, 3. Call it 54 inches by, well, that was hollow though. Yeah. So now we're not going to rely on Kevin's memory anymore. So we got say 50 inches by 30 inch diameter. Yep.
That's 1641.
1,600 pounds here, and but we're a little bit hollow, so still we're gonna take 2 wraps. they might not. Okay, now we're going to, yeah. Okay, you want to pull that monster up to me?
Yep.
We're gonna leave my top rope on for this. So I did not untie this. So now on your second double whip tackle, you don't have to worry about that last tie off. When I get this tied off, I'm tied off. Now, if you get down to stubby pieces, you want to cut some grooves in there. I think I'm going to be look at that. Now, if you had a smaller sling, that baby's failing. Your sling that's on the tree has to be markedly bigger than any of your other stuff, because that was catching all of the 1500 and then some, because of the shock load. Moving piece coming to a stop syndrome, which is going to add weight to the system. So I was twisted over. I wasn't totally neat. So I did some dressing there so that my cow hitch is totally neat, because if this cow hitch isn't nice and firm, it'll open up and this could flip out of there. And we got lots of friction on this bark, but we want this cow hitch nice and tight. Bring this over here and we can tuck this. That'll eat up some more space. Okay. Okay, now we gotta come through here. All right, now make sure my climbing line is following all the other lines. My back cut is going to be above that, and we're going to watch our back cut this time. So I'm gonna choke this back this way so I can lean back against that and come out here and see myself coming up to my cut, right like that. All right, Terry, you ready?
2 wraps.
2 wraps. think I can push it. All right, here she comes. That was very hollow. Yeah, now see that? Because we were hollow, that did not have the weight. So 2 wraps was way too much. So, yeah, it didn't even move on him, which was good. It probably wasn't that big of a shock load.
Right.
So this next one does not appear to be hollow. It's got pure dirt at the top, but it might be solid at the bottom. Okay, I'll leave my top rope. You gonna pull that up to me? Okay, I get it. Okay, you want to pull that up tight? Get out of my life. Okay, I'm gonna cut this whole thing off. Just take a wrap, just one. Actually want a half a wrap, and I want you to stand it on the other side and just make it go right to that pile. I'm afraid on double whip tackle, that's a whole wrap still. Go through the pigtail, just a half a wrap, just come underneath. Yeah, and just go for that pile. I didn't want it like locking up and it'll come all the way around, it would hit me.
Yeah.
I'm more important than the lawn. Came right off of there. All right, that was perfect. I would not have wanted to got spanked by that thing. Okay. Well, we're pretty solid there. So we've got one more double whip tackle rig. So here's where that top rope comes in handy. Just climb right back up here nicely. Yeah. I know why I didn't like a steel cord flip line for most trees that are crooked, because they're not as adjustable. You know, you kind of need 2 hands to adjust this thing. Now the key is don't let go of these things. I don't want to let go of this block. All right, let me tie this up tight. Right there. Run a timber hitch again. So this is a 5/8 sling on the bottom here. Our rope is 9/16. So our sling is always one size bigger than our rope. And then our double whip tackle is 2 sizes bigger. Actually, 3 sizes. That's a 1 inch on the double whip sling. So it's a bit of an overkill. But that way, you know, we can beat it up a little bit and it's gonna be just fine. Get this down here, right on top of that. So once you have the double whip tackle set up, you know, don't lose your, and I like to offset these a little bit so it's not hanging right on top of this, you know, so this will be, but I don't want it choked way back here because then we got a big bend in the rope. So we still have only a, you know, a 90-degree bend in this rope. We don't want to do a 180-degree bend way back here. Just bring it up and I'll see what happens here. Oh, yeah. I put one twist in my sling. Okay, we got a nice little knob here. Let's get my steel core flip line up here. We're gonna go above this. Wow. What is going on here? Doggone. So heavy. Wow. All right. Now, I know why we like to just dump pieces off now. Because this is an absolute pain. It's a lot of labor. So if you're thinking of, you know, bidding a tree for double whip tackle, keep in mind you better price it right, because it takes longer. It definitely takes longer. And once again, we want to get back behind all the rigging with our climbing line. Now I could use a quickie on here and not be so cumbersome with that big Dan. But the big Dan actually, when you want it to come back to you, it's nice to have the big Dan on there. Terry,
I just thought of it.
how did you let me tie that there without me cutting a notch?
Just looking up there like, oh no.
folks, that's why this is a training video, because this will be more memorable. Everybody's got to have this. I mean, I've had this experience before. I think with, you know, it's a distraction of recording that made me forget, but you got to cut your notch before you tie on your piece. So now I've taken my top rope down. So I'll be putting that up there without the top rope. Yeah, I could have. Yeah, I could have. I could have, Terry. That again would have been something you'd want to say like just a little bit ago. So now without a top rope, what you can do is, you know, make sure you're choked off against your climbing line, so I can lean out here and cut my notch. All right. All right. Well, we survived that, Terry.
Yeah.
I could just edit that all out. But then I'd be like all the others. I had somebody comment the other day, this guy always makes tree work look so difficult. I look up his profile, he's got nothing. He's got nothing, except an opinion. But it's like, well, I do put the struggles in there. That's what makes it a story. And like, it's not, and the best of the best have struggles. You know, it just is what it is. All right, well, let's do the 2 wraps. We are all tied off, right? Yes, we are. All points are tied. I think I can push it. I hope I can. Oh yeah, we can get her wiggling. Get up here, get a little leverage. Yeah, look at that, 2 wraps and he couldn't let it run. You know, but 1 wrap would have been, you know, a little exciting. So having the GRCSs with a pigtail on both sides would be the ticket. You could do some more increments. Or a porter wrap, you could probably get it dialed in a little different. All right, well, I'll start coming down, Terry. You can start moving wood. Well, one good thing, we don't need a rope on this tree.
Right.
Pretty sure I can notch this over. Are there wedges in that truck of yours? So my timber hitch held just fine. All right. So, yeah, I got that cut pretty thin. It was just over here, I did. So Terry told me I started overcutting the notch, so it wasn't that bad of a hinge to break. I was a little high over here, so that made it, I had to tear a little more fiber. All right. So, one more demonstration on getting the top rope down. All right, that would be that.
There's always a risk when you're playing the game of trees.